Hello, welcome back to my YouTube channel. I am Nilla. Let's get into this beautiful blue look on my client today. Starting out, I'm just taking some basic face wipes. You can get this from any drugstore. I got mine from Dollar Tree, and they're sensitive, so I really like using these from client to client. Next, I'm going in with my Pond's Dry Skin Cream. It is in the blue and white container. I really love it because it's super clean, and I just place that all over the face and make sure it is moisturized and dissolved in. I'm just placing that moisture back into the skin. Then next we're going to go into the brows. Now I'm just mapping out his natural brow shape. I'm not doing anything too fancy. I'm taking light strokes, like hair-like strokes, just going from end to end, making sure everything looks good to me. Here, all I'm doing is using the eyebrow brush to blend out that pencil and making sure everything is looking super blended. Now I am going into my Maybelline Fit Me. I'm going into the shade 355. It is the shade Coconut, and this shade matches his skin so freaking perfectly. All I did was place a small dot on the forehead to see how it would blend. Now I know normally people use a lighter shade under the brow and then go on top using their exact skin color, but I decided to take it a different way. I tried to switch up my techniques client to client and just kind of like use them as practice. Like basically I tried to try different techniques. So I wanted to use his exact shade for underneath and also use the exact shade of his skin for on top. And I'm going to go back later on and blend everything out. So right now I'm just carving out his natural brow shape and making sure it looks bomb and uniformed. At this point, I am going back into the eyebrow pencil, and I just put a little bit on a flat brush, and I'm just going back in, getting those areas that might look a little sparse or look a little spotted to me. And I'm going back in because I want to make sure that those brows are blended from beginning to end, making those ends darker and making the inner brow light and as blended as possible. Now I'm just taking a small blending brush and I'm blending out that foundation around the brows. And next I will be going in with my Maybelline Fit Me. This will be in the shade 335 Classic Tan. And I'm taking a small flat brush and I'm applying that all over the lid. I will be using this as my eyeshadow base. I don't really like to use eyeshadow base. I like to use foundations and concealers. I feel that they tend to work best. You don't need much product, and I know it might look like much product, but because it's so light, it looks like a lot, but it's really a little. The less is more. If you use too much, it will make the shadows crease. So I just try to take a little bit and I blend it all the way out, which is what I'm doing right now. Just taking that flat brush and blending everything out. Now, I promise you all, once I get the editing and everything down packed, I will start implementing pictures of the different products and everything that I'm using. That way you can get a good idea of which shades I'm using out of which palettes. But this deep dark blue, I went in with my ABH. I went into my Anastasia Beverly Hills palette. It is like a blue palette. The palette that I have in my hand, I actually ended up not using it. I thought I was going to end up using it, but I didn't. So I'm actually taking a deep blue shade out of the Anastasia Beverly Hills palette. It is a blue palette. And I'm just going to pack that all on the outer corner. And I'm just going from eye to eye, making sure everything looks blended. Next, I'm going into my Anastasia Beverly Hills palette. This is the purple palette now, and I took a lighter blue and I started packing that on top of that darker blue. Then I went into my Juvia's Place, the Masquerade Mini. There is a like lighter blue shade in that palette that I fell in love with, and I was like, this has got to go on top of that darker blue to help blend it out. So that's exactly what I did here. Oh my gosh, you guys, look at how much that eye pops with me just placing that on top of that shade. Here you can see me placing down a kind of creamy, it wasn't white, it was almost like a creamy color, like a creamy khaki color. I was placing that on the inner eyelid space. I was going to place basic white, but I was like, no, I gotta pair this with a creamy white. I think it looks so much better. Almost like an eggshell kind of white where it isn't fully white, but yes, it ended up working out in the end. Next, I am going in with the liquid liner. I get these liners from the Dollar Tree. I always get my liquid liners from the Dollar Tree. I actually hated using liquid liners in any makeup I did, but I actually started slowly falling in love with it. So I'm just taking that and I am giving him a wing. I'm not making the wing super, super, super thick. I'm just making it where it's noticeable enough for when I place the lash down. And then next, you're actually going to see me go into a blue liner. Now, these liners I got off Amazon. They are the water activated. They are the UV water activated face paints, but I like to use them as liners. And a pro tip is, because these crack really, really bad, and I've tried to I noticed it from experiencing and using them constantly, they crack really, really bad once they're dry, because I'm thinking because it's face paint. So I just take my duo lash glue and layer that on top, and then I place a shadow that's actually similar to the color of the liner on top of that, and oh my goodness, the results are amazing. All right, in here you see me picking up a shimmer shade. I use my LA Colors contour. This is the I Love Makeup Glow palette, and I just picked up a shimmer shade from it and I placed that on the inner corner. And here you see me using my pro hack, which was to lay down a thin layer of duo lash glue on top of your color liner, and then go back and find a shade that matches that liner, to be able to place on top. That way it'll stop it from cracking. And now I'm just putting him on some lashes. These are in the Kiss lashes. This is in the style Plunged Extra Large Collection, hashtag 25mm. And I'm just placing those on. He said they felt really they felt like butterfly wings, but hey, I love the way they actually complemented the look, so I went on ahead and went with those. And I'm just fanning, making sure that glue dries. All right, here I am. His perfect shade was 355 Coconut. This is in the Maybelline Fit Me. And I know it looks light, but you have to remember foundations eventually oxidize down, and that just means once it's been out in the air longer, it starts to either get darker or sometimes it actually gets lighter, but as you can see, as I'm blending it into his skin, it is the perfect match. Like, you have to trust the process when it comes to some of these foundations. Like, this is the only foundation I use. Sometimes I use Black Radiance foundations. Sometimes I even use LA Colors foundations. But I always go back to my Maybelline Fit Me. This is the perfect drugstore foundation, especially when you're starting out as a new makeup artist. I learned this from trial and error. This is actually the perfect beginner friendly foundations to use. And as you can tell, this matches his neck and his chest perfectly. Normally I do like a small little dot beforehand before I even start makeup process, that way I can match the colors. But when I did the little small dot, it was perfect. Now I'm going in with the 335 Classic Tan Maybelline, and I'm also taking that in a little bit of the 355 Coconut shade, and I'm placing that on his highlighted points of his face. That is the inner corner of the eyes, the bridge of the nose, and the middle of the forehead. And sometimes I like to go along the bottom half of the chin, but because he has like a little beard, I didn't want to put too much makeup on that area, and then you will see the makeup come through from the hair. So I'm just taking a small blending brush and I'm blending it out. And guys, look at how bomb this looks. Now I'm going into my LA Colors contour I Love Makeup palettes, and I am taking the darkest shade out of that palette to contour his face. I'm just shaping out his face. That'll give me some more depth and add a little bit warmth into his face. That will be the cheekbones, the top of the forehead, the nose. Of course, we've got to snatch that nose, hunty. And like I said, I'm just taking that darkish color out that shade to help with contouring. All right, at this point, I had him tilt his head back and look up. That way, I'm blending that contour and making sure that highlight is blended underneath the eye, because sometimes, people tend to forget. But you have to get that under eye area and make sure he's blended. And okay, he was feeling it. He said his friends aren't always used to him wearing makeup or getting glammed up. So when he does it, it's always a surprise to them because they never know. And he did it as a surprise to them, and he was in love with it, you guys. So I'm just taking a mechanical pencil that I got from the dollar store, or you can get it from your local beauty supply store, and lining his water lines with the black. And then I just took a little bit of that deep blue that I used from my Masquerade mini palette by Juvia's Place, and I'm lining up the under eye, just adding some pop of color into the under eye area. Now we're just highlighting the main points of the face. That would be the inner corners of the eyes, the tip of the nose, not the full bridge of the nose, but kind of like that starting point of the bridge of the nose. That would be the cheeks, the forehead, and the chin area, as well as the cupid's bow. And I'm just highlighting those areas. And then next you will see me go into the lip portion. I don't always use liners. And then we got a little Vogue action, honey. Yes, he was feeling it. But going into the lips, I just took a dark brown shade from my ABH Cosmetics. This is in the blue palette, because I don't always use liners for the lips. Sometimes I might find a beautiful pigmented eyeshadow shade, and that's what I did. And then I'm going into my LA Colors lipstick. The first shade that I placed down was their Bear With Me. This is the C30695 shade. And then I went back over that shade with the Old Teddy. This is also a LA Colors lipstick. This is called Old Teddy. This is the C30695 shade. And I have fallen in love with the LA Colors lipstick. Like, I thought it wasn't going to be all that, but their nude shades, honey, yes. As you can tell, it came through. Then I went over top with a drugstore lip gloss just to make it all pop. In those inner corners, I added just a tad bit of glitter. I added some chunky glitter, so it wasn't much, but as you can see, the little dots. And another pro tip for you guys: when you have fallout as far as glitter goes on top of your makeup, the best tip that I can give you all is to take some tape and lightly press it up against the skin where the glitter has fallen. That way you're not taking a spoolie and trying to brush off the glitter with a spoolie, because I see that it tends to disrupt the foundation and the powders and everything you set down. It tends to disrupt it, like it's scraping it off. So pro tip, just use some tape. And like I said, I'm placing a little glitter. We're having a little glitter moment. I set the face using my Black Radiance. This is the Dewy and Luminous setting spray. I love Black Radiance's setting spray. I want to try the Continual Spray by MAC, but in the meantime, we got this. And yes, this is the final look. We're getting up close and personal. Look at this blue moment that we're having. I wanted to bring out that blue patch. And thank you guys so much for watching. Follow me on all social media. Thank you guys.